Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with the ever famous, always grounded, and quite often hungry Sir Meowsers, who has decided to make an early appearance this evening. So today I want to talk with you about attracting goodness into your life, letting the world come to you. Before we do that, housekeeping, really quickly. First off, we're holding a Law of Attraction group coaching this September, getting ahead of myself to find out more. And this is going to be a very small class. We're going to help you crank up your energy, help you achieve your dreams, help you reach for your dreams, help you discover your purpose. And also, we're going to be doing group intention work, a bunch of us meditating together to help you bring about what you want in your life. And to find out more about that, simply come on over or email at this point, coaching@inspirenationshow.com. Again, coaching@inspirenationshow.com. Jessica, real briefly, do we have any sales we should mention before we dive into things?
For new customers, we have
Come on and get closer here.
Shine Bright 20. Just Shine 20. For Inspire Nation University.
Okay, so inspirenationuniversity.com for any of our classes. You can do Shine 20. I like that. Do we still have something out of curiosity? If you use Shine 20, you get 20% off the Magical Morning Routine. Is there still an add-on bonus if you do automatic writing on top of that?
There is.
And so you get automatic writing for only $20?
That's correct.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about attracting goodness into your life. And while we're doing that, we've been talking a lot about hummingbirds lately. I don't know how much we've been talking about them on the Ask Michael Anything, but if you look outside the window right now, Jessica, what are you seeing?
One hummingbird and one bee. Make that 2 hummingbirds.
And how many is the most you've seen out of this window at any one time?
20.
We have been attracting hummingbirds into our lives. And I guess that's part of the attracting goodness. In fact, we look them up as what's the significance of hummingbirds. And I'm looking at half a dozen flying around. They're the coolest little creatures. They're like little fighter jets, except that they're lovers. They're not fighters. But they signify abundance and lightness and energy and lightness of being and fun and sweetness in life. So it's been really fun attracting them in. But the funny thing is, and it's what tonight's topic is about, you can't force a hummingbird into your life. You can't make a hummingbird come here. In fact, I believe they're the only bird that really cannot exist in captivity. They're so fragile and delicate, and you can't force them. I mean, can you imagine trying to keep a hummingbird in a small place? It'd be really difficult. So why am I talking about hummingbirds tonight? Because I want to talk about how we attract things into our lives. And so we've put out the hummingbird feeders, and over time, they've come into our lives. Backing up from here, I want to talk with you about busyness. Busyness is considered the new cool, the new hip. It's the thing to do. Is how busy can you be? It's really been a badge of pride. And I'd say it's actually the reverse. That I don't want to judge anybody for being busy, or I would have to judge myself. But busyness is often a distraction from our true self. When you're busy, you really can't attract anything into your life. Why is that? Because attraction is about energy. It's about pause. It's about having a space, the breath, to attract the goodness into your life. But when you're go, there isn't that space. There isn't that ability to attract things because you can't get into a heart-centered space. You're in this go thinking mind. And when you're in that thinking mind, you're anywhere but a high vibration place. You may be a fight or flight place, but you're anything but a high attraction place. This means that all of us get to take a pause from the busyness, to step back, to get present with yourself, to get present with your feelings, to get present with your intentions, and most of all, to simply be. When you go to a place of being, ideas chase you down, beautiful thoughts chase you down, people chase you down, experiences chase you down. because you're not in the day-to-day, go, 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 go. When you pause, even or especially when you do things that have nothing at all to do with what you're doing. For instance, I tend to go to a little bit of a movie, or I might want to go sit on my bed for a few minutes, or I like taking baths each morning, or taking a bath right before an interview. Why on earth would you take a bath before an interview, Michael? Don't you have more prep work to do? No. I want the interview to chase me down. I want the best ideas to chase me down. I want the sweetness to chase me down. If I focus on self-care or just being, I give room for that to take place. Also, by taking care of myself, I'm raising my vibration up. I'm getting into kind of a higher vibration state, a law of attraction state, to attract in goodness, but also to make for a better interview for myself and for my guest. I'm sorry, I'm like a squirrel on crack right here. I can't help but looking over at Jessica, who is just mesmerized. Oh, she just got in heart coherence for a minute. We got some toys in from Heart Math that we'll probably talk with you about in a minute. And so she is just staring next to me. She has incredible presence, not on me, not on anything going on, but can I get the red dot to be a green dot? We will talk more about that. That actually has to do with what I'm talking about next. It's about your energetic state. When you take a pause, when you take a moment for this sweetness to come into your life, it changes where you're vibrating, and it changes everything around you. For instance, I've had so many coaching clients that are looking for a partner in their life. And the old adage goes, if you look for somebody, you won't find them. It's true. Oftentimes it's true. Why is it? Because you're rushing, you're pushing, you're striving, you're driving. And when you're in that energetic state of need or neediness, nothing has a chance to get in and find you. When you back off, when you work on the inside, when you work on yourself, people have a way of finding you. Now, it doesn't mean you can't do a two-step dance. You can't put yourself out there, joining clubs, joining activities, joining meditation groups, things that you resonate with. But when your entire focus is on the goal, your entire focus is on the person, then your eye is actually too much on the prize. We need to actually step back and go from, I believe I probably mentioned it in last week's Ask Michael Anything. We had Dr. Amit Goswami on, world famous quantum physicist. And I absolutely love him. Teddy bear. I just want to hug him. And he talks about doobie-doobie-doo. And I know we mentioned it last week because we were trying to talk about be-do-be-do-be. But in the doobie-doobie-doo, you focus on the goal and then you let it go. You let it go. So right now, if you're in the do state, that mind is closed. That, oh, hi, meowsers. That fist. That fist is closed. It's hard to allow anything in. But when you just be, your hand opens up and you're ready and able to receive. Vibrating at a higher level, what does that mean? Desperation is a very low survival level vibration. It's hard to call anything in, and we often accidentally call in the reverse. When you want to call in what you really want to attract into life, put it out there. Put it out there by writing about it, by doing automatic writing, by dreaming about it, by going to a hypnagogic state, a half-awake state at night, by putting on some theta brainwave entrainment music and writing about it and writing out a story about it, by imagine flying on a magic carpet or a dragon and getting there. Notice how my vibration is coming up. That attracts in goodness to your life. That's not going, how do I bring it in? There's this term, brainstorm. I want to replace it with heart feeling. We want to heart feel it in. We want to attract it in through our heart resonance. And so it means that you can't strive for it. You can't fight for it. You can certainly write it down on a daily basis to help remember that it's what you want. And then you get, like Meowder's tail, to let it go. We often want things in our time. We have a funny way of looking at time. We look at time often out of desperation. It's either now or never. There really is no now or never. I've trained so many athletes that are thinking at 21, 23, 25, 30, whatever the age, if I don't do it now, then the opportunity is gone. Nothing could be further from the truth. We always improve over time. We grow over time. For Jessica and myself, if the show had been this popular from day number one, I don't think we would have had a clue what to do. Probably everything would have blown up, website blown up. Our stress levels probably would have blown up. Instead, things have grown slowly, allowing ourselves to grow into our skin. That's allowing the goodness to chase us down. But we have such a funny concept time. We want immediate gratification. And if it doesn't come to us now, then we think something's wrong. I think it's actually just the reverse. You put it out there to the universe, you let it come in universe's time. Why is that so important? Well, if you want what you want and that's all you want and you got to get what you want, you might actually get it. As the adage goes, though, be careful what you wish for. Maybe there was something better. Maybe the universe had something greater in mind for you. What I call the or something better. I'm trying to see if I can get Mousers on camera here. But when you're rush, and need it now, you don't allow that opportunity to come in. Hard to get Mousers in there at the same time. So when you pause, when you allow things to chase you down, you're allowing the universe the wiggle room to bring you the best. There's also a sweetness in letting go. And that's a big part of the talk as I'm looking at the hummingbirds coming and going from the nectar-filled feeders. Say that 10 times. There's a pureness, a gentleness, a relaxing into things. And that's actually what Jessica and I are working on right now. And that's what my whole concentration and focus right now. I went from do this summer. That's a lot of do. I went to how much can I step back? How much gentler can I be? How much can I let the opportunities come to me? Doesn't mean I won't work hard. Doesn't mean that I won't build programs and do coaching and all of this fun stuff. But it means I put more of a pause in there to let it come to me. It really all is about energy. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Desperation, neediness, clinginess, demanding often scares away what we want the most. But inviting, warming, raising our vibration, and getting in heart coherence from the inside out helps the most. So I want to talk real briefly about heart coherence. Then we're going to open up the questions. I've got Jessica on this app thingy next to me. Do you know what it's called? Is it Inner Wave?
Oh gosh.
I think it might be called. Don't worry about it. You can get to it later. I want to talk about heart coherence, and we'll talk about some of the gadgets. Heart coherence, the heart emits a bigger signal than the mind. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. You've got to check out the interviews from Howard Martin and Dr. Joe Dispenza on this at the very least. Heart puts out a bigger field, a bigger signal than the mind. And if you focus on the heart, you help get the mind in coherence, basically vibrating in frequency in tandem with the heart. It quiets the mind. It helps get you in a heart space. It's much better for manifestation. It's better for relationships. People feel more comfortable with you. Animals feel more comfortable with you. Careful of petting his butt there. And all of your relationships improve. But most importantly, I think when you get into that heart space, you're attracting that sweetness into your life. A very simple way you can do this is put your hands over your heart space, over basically your heart chakra, and breathe in. I always breathe in and out through the nose. It reduces the nervous system or calms the nervous system. Breathe in through the heart down to your belly, and out through your heart as well. And in through that heart, and out through the heart. You start really slowing it down. You can bring emotion in as well. For instance, gratitude through the heart. And send out love through the heart. In gratitude, out love. In gratitude, out love. In this heart space, anything is possible. I go to this heart space first thing in the morning. I go to this heart space when I'm doing my interviews. I'm working on, it's a mindfulness exercise, getting to this heart space when I'm doing my bicycle racing. And I'm trying to be in this heart space each and every time I do my interview prep as well. It's a practice. You're able to do it better and better over time. Jessica's actually using an app right now. I believe it's called Inner Wave. She'll look it up later. It's from Heart Math Institute, which allows her to visibly see, is she vibrating in coherence with her heart, or is she out of coherence? There's another little device I got called M-Wave that I'm going to be testing out, because I am still at the moment smartphone free to keep me from distractions when I'm out on the trails. And it allows me to measure my heart coherence as well. So we're going to be geeking out on this, but getting to that heart space can truly change everything. So with that said, going to open it up to questions. I know Jessica's typing. While I don't want to put her on the spot, I have to ask if there are any housekeeping issues that we want to address before I go into questions.
I think you already mentioned it at the beginning.
I mentioned our group coaching coming up. I mentioned the 20% off on our classes. And I believe we're going to have a program launching in the beginning of the fall. Well, it actually might be second week of September on evening routine to help you to be able to sleep better, to help you to be able to get up better, to be able to focus in the next day. And really, everything that I teach, everything that you teach as well, all begins with getting a good night's sleep. And so we're going to talk about how we can help you get a good night's sleep. And that'll be coming out beginning to mid-September as well. So with that said, I want to open it up to some questions. Meowser's just getting frisky with his tail here. I'm not sure what that means, but this is the first time he's kind of snuggled up when we're on camera. And I hear Lovebug downstairs. She's calling us to chase her. And we were telling her, Lovebug, we will chase you down and rough you up. Yes, she loves being roughed up. As soon as we are done with this call. Actually, you'll have to do a lot of the roughing up. I've got a coaching call. But what's question number one? Or is there anything that you want to share at this point?
Well, right now, according to the app, I am not in heart coherence. And that's because I'm on camera.
Yeah.
And there were a few moments while you were talking that I could get myself into heart coherence. But for the most part, this experience causes me quite a bit of anxiety. And that's why you don't see me very much on the show.
So if I'm looking at these waves going on, these look like EEGs or EKG. Is this your heart that I'm looking at that's doing this?
Yeah, that's the heart rate variability.
Fascinating. So
the ow.
Did he just bite you?
Yes.
That's funny.
So
he's saying, Mommy, you're not in coherence. I am out of here.
The red means I'm not in coherence, and the blue is like getting there, and then green would mean I'm in coherence. And when I'm sitting like more in a meditative space or situation, I can get into the green pretty easily. But in this situation, I'm having quite a bit of difficulty.
Well, now I've got a stress meter. We both got stress meters on our watch, and I've been looking at what I have 4,444 steps. That's a good sign. So I've been looking at my stress meter on here, and what I've been finding is that there's a lot of stress when I do my interviews. Oh, now the stress meter has disappeared. That's wild. But the stress level overall for my interviews is down. It was at a stress level a few months ago of 75 out of 100 for interviews. And now it's at a stress level of 50 out of 100.
I got to green.
Pookie got to green.
Okay, it's back to blue.
And how did you do that? You did that by not listening to me, or?
No. Well, I did
not speaking.
Not speaking helps.
Oh, now you're back to green right away. So this is cool feedback to help you to get in the zone. And it is really, now what are you doing? Are you breathing in and out through the heart? What is it you're doing to get in coherence?
Number one, I'm slowing down my breath. So when I'm speaking in this kind of situation, I think I like hold my breath because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
So I'm like breathing up here.
Yeah.
It's back to red. I am breathing through my nose when I'm trying to get into heart coherence. And then, breathing through the heart. But I find that actually just slowing down the breath makes the biggest difference. Secondly, breathing through the heart space.
That makes sense.
And then thinking about cuddling with the kitty cats, or picturing being out with the hummingbirds, or watching the chipmunk eating vegetables in the yard.
We have some very spoiled, happily spoiled animals around here, and we're happy to spoil more. If you're an animal and you need some love, then you want to come to fill in the blank.
So focusing on moments that bring me the greatest happiness and peace, that also brings me into heart coherence.
That makes perfect sense. That's why a baby, a happy baby, a pet can bring you into heart coherence.
Yes, but thinking about somebody else's baby might not bring me into heart coherence, because I want my own baby. And it's crazy. Like one thought, even just thinking about the smoke outside, or watching, we have these air filters that will change color when they detect particulates, pollution in the air. So blue means that the air is clean, purple means that it's not so great, red means like danger.
It's interesting because as you spoke, it went from green, which was heart coherence. This top dot here went from green, and then you talked about the filter changing color, and it changed to blue, and then you talked about the filter hitting red, and this thing went to red as well.
So just like me glancing at the air filter going from blue to purple, took me out of heart coherence.
And I think that's the coolest thing, not that it took you out of heart coherence, but how much we can be present with our thoughts, with our experiences, and going back to the breath, how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know that like I really registered the color changing on the air filter. It was just like, I already conditioned my body to react to the color changing in the air filter. I barely had a thought about it. So it just struck me how important it is to watch every single thought, like the slightest, almost thought.
It's almost here.
Exactly.
Quick. But I think it also means that, and you did this for several hours on the couch sitting earlier today, I believe the more time that we can pause and step back, the more time that we can get into this coherent state, the more it affects our entire day.
Oh, sure. Yeah. It's training, and you become more resilient. Yeah.
Woohoo!
And I'm green.
All right. So on that note, what questions do we have? And Ivy Velasquez asked, is it a free app? It's not free. It's through HeartMath. We don't get anything from them for doing it. Maybe we should find a way. Well, but it requires an earlobe sensor.
The app itself is free. But,
okay.
But the sensor, which I'm wearing on my earlobe here.
I like the fashion statement.
It's a Bluetooth, which I don't usually like using Bluetooth.
But they actually said, and I'm with you on the Bluetooth, but they actually discussed that on the HeartMath thing.
Did they?
And said it is a much weaker local version of Bluetooth at the lowest energy output possible.
Okay.
So they actually said that for interested consumers like you and I, who like to keep all electronics off of us and away from us.
Cool. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah. So maybe I'll chill out even more. But so this sensor here, there's a cost to that, and the app is free.
So let's dive into some questions here.
Okay. First question is from Rando Mayoka 21, who's from Japan. She writes that I unconsciously tend to have limiting beliefs. I try to enjoy visualizing what I love, etc., but unless it's what I really love and desire, it's been tough. I lack imagination?
No, you don't lack random Mayoka. Would I call you Mayoka? Mayoka, you don't lack imagination at all. You lack an ability to be a square peg in a round hole. That's a good thing. The idea that we can force ourselves to do something. I mean, yes, we have to chop wood. We have to carry water. We don't have to be the best at that. But the idea that we have to force ourselves to do our weakness, that we have to force ourselves to do a job that we don't like, that we don't love, that we're not passionate about, while we may need to do some of these things as a temporary measure to survive, To thrive, it's a different paradigm. It's a different world. It's all about energy, and it's all about following the energy trail. That means that you go after what lights you up. The challenge in this is that our society may tell us to do otherwise. Our parents may tell us to do otherwise. Our teachers or earlier mentors in life may tell us to do otherwise. And so it's hard for us to trust ourselves and step out of that box. But you want to do what lights you up. You want to do where your energy is at. You want to do where your imagination is at. I like to say that we all came here with gifts wrapped around our heart. Our job is to unwrap those gifts, figure out what they are, and go with them with everything that we've got. How do you figure out what your gifts are? It's what you're passionate about. It's what you're excited about. It's what lights you up. If you're losing time doing it, that's a hint. If you could do it for days on end without eating or drinking or anything like that, minus maybe video games, that's a hint as well. And if you're a gamer, there are ways to make a living out of that as well, making or writing games. But if you're losing time, if it just feels so overwhelmingly good that you couldn't possibly make a living at it, or you don't feel anybody would allow you, or your mind would allow you to make a living at it, that's actually the direction you want to head. One of the biggest challenges, though, and it's something Don Miguel Ruiz talked about a few weeks ago, I think a few others have talked about recently, it's something I talk about all the time, is that we have, Don Miguel Ruiz calls it a government in our mind. We have a judicial, we have a Congress, we have a president that have made rules and said what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, what you can do, what you can't do, how much of this you can do, how much of that you can't do. And we get to break down those barriers or let go of those rules in our mind that are not ours. You get to ask yourself, is this mine? Break down those walls and allow yourself to try these things with everything that you've got. This is a new paradigm. It's a new time. It's all about energy. You do something you don't like to do and try to muscle your way through for a short while. For instance, if you got to take care of the family, you can pull that off, particularly if it's about helping somebody else. But over time, it can implode. Instead, you have to get yourself in alignment with what excites you the most, what makes you feel the best, which is why it's so important to pause, be with yourself, start asking the big questions, or take time away from everything, particularly the do, go, to hear your heart, to sense what it's calling for you to do. So we might talk about a little bit more about intention work and dream work later, depending on the questions that come up. Beautiful, beautiful question. Going to encourage you. I think your heart would demand from you that you start looking and listening to what lights you up and let go of other people's beliefs. And particularly depending on how much you're in Japanese culture, it is hard. It's here in this culture. It is hard to go back past the cultural beliefs and demands of the society around us, but so important that we challenge ourselves to do this. Beautiful, beautiful question.
Our next question is from Joe, who writes, advice on building courage, stepping out of the box, moving away from corporate into more holistic spiritual work.
Way to go, Joe. So the easiest way to build courage is tiny little baby steps, where you step forward. How do I put this? Tiny little challenges you take that you do no matter what. If you say, I'm going to get up at 7 every morning, and you start getting up at 7, that builds your courage muscle. If you say, I'm going to do a blog, even though I've never done a blog before, if that's a reasonable thing, and you actually do it, that builds a courage muscle. Anything that you say you're going to do to yourself, it doesn't have to be about or for, or nobody else has to even about or for somebody else. Nobody else even has to know about it. But when you honor your word to yourself, you increase your courage muscle. Then put yourself out a little bit, then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and you will grow so much stronger in yourself. Now, if you just took the giant leap and already left the corporate job, congratulations, that is a huge step. My strongest recommendation now is to follow up on that energy by putting a morning routine in place and hold on to that morning routine with everything that you've got. Each day you get up early, each day you put systems in place, and each day you follow through, you will feel stronger. Get yourself out around other people who have their confidence high as well. They say if you want to get outrageously fit, surround yourself with outrageously fit people. The more that you put yourself around people who are out there and doing things like this to a certain extent, listening to us, interacting with us, is hanging with people who are doing that. But the more that you do that, even on a personal basis, if you can, the more it rubs off on you. Perhaps it's their frequency rubbing off on you. But if people are being daring and courageous around you and entrepreneurial or doing unique things, you're going to be more daring and courageous as well. But congratulations, Joe, on going down this journey. We support you. Woohoo! Next question.
Our next question is from Lavi, who writes, "Hi, Michael and Jessica. So happy to see you both. My question is, can we heal our physical body and any disease with energy or mind power?"
So that's a brilliant question, Lavi. I'm going to give you my opinion on it because I don't say that I know the answer for sure. But from all of the guests we've had on our show, if it's for your highest good and the highest good of all, meaning for your, I don't believe we live just one lifetime. So for your evolution and for your growth as a spiritual being having a human existence, absolutely is my belief, without a shadow of a doubt. Is it easy? No. Do we all have access to it? Yes, but it's unclear if one technique works for one person and if another works for another. But yes, I truly believe we can do that. I put in there a huge asterisk because I have seen and known of very, very spiritual people who have either not been able to heal or who've checked out, who've passed away, who've moved on past this lifetime, despite all the tools and techniques they used, because I believe there's a lot more going on that we don't have total control over. However, I've seen miracles happen. I've known of so many miracles that have happened. If you go to like a Dr. Joe Dispenza retreat, you will see miracle after miracle happen. If you go to John of God, you will see miracle after miracle. If you do the work yourself or help to heal others, do Reiki or some other energy modality, you will help heal person after person. What about yourself? It all depends on the universe. Without judgment, without expectation, it may be your path to fully heal, and I've seen so many people heal. It may be your path to learn from this experience, and maybe it is actually even a gift to have, crazy as that sounds. But I've seen so many incredible miracles that if you're sick or if you're sick or if you're injured, whatever it is, I say you throw the kitchen sink at it. You truly believe you can heal. You get yourself to a Joe Dispenza event. You get yourself to an energy healer. You go to an acupuncturist. You go to an herbalist. You go to a naturopath. You throw every single one of these energy healing modalities. I've never heard of like there being a, if you do one and then you do the other, it's going to hurt one or the other. What's a contraindication of one versus the other? Or sort of like taking too many prescription meds at the same time where they can interfere with each other. I've never heard of any such thing, but you go for it with everything that you've got. As somebody who has had some crazy, miraculous healings on myself, and I guess from, quote, myself, I don't take full credit. The stuff I've seen with my body alone, and that would be many an episode to go over all of the healings that I've had, I'm a believer. Brilliant question, Lavi.
Okay, our next question is from Ivy, who writes, "How do you guys protect or shield yourselves from negative situations or people?"
You know, I'm going to let you field that first if you want, because I have a very different take on it lately. My take seems to be changing more and more over time. So I'm going to ask first where you're at with that.
Well, I typed a short answer already, but basically I find that those situations don't come up very much anymore. I guess the most recent situation was the IRS audit, which was 2 years ago now.
And that just immediately puts my heart in a place of love. I want to send her love. I want to send her more love. I want to send her more love. And I want to send her more love because we love the auditor. She was cool.
Yeah, she was a little like put off guard when she first met us because she was like, what's wrong with these people? Why are they so like
loving,
happy to see me and so friendly? But yeah, we went into it believing that we were going to make a friend, that we were going to make her day, that we were going to be like the best case she ever worked on.
Yeah.
And it made the whole situation a lot easier for everyone. Because we could have easily gone in angry and upset because, you know, we were honest in our reporting, but they were accusing us of withholding information or whatever. But
temporary. That was a temporary.
Yeah, and it all worked out great because we ended up owing nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty rare.
So dovetailing off of that, I do think the experiences when your energy gets up more, I think the experiences you attract in more of the positive experience and more of the positive people. I do also think though that on one side of things, we're more sensitive. So if we feel somebody is, I don't want to label him. Dr. Christian Northrup's term would be an energy vampire. Mm-hmm. But if we see somebody that doesn't feel quite right to us, we send them love and we keep our distance. And I believe we're much better about that, much more discerning about that. I used to call us a skittish deer. Basically, we're sensitive to the energies and we take action very quickly based on that. We're like, oh, nice person, don't want to do a dance with them. Let's not even go there. With that said, from a coaching perspective, and there's so many people that I interact with on a daily basis, I find it easier and easier over time to have a bubble without even thinking about it. Maybe it's from the prayers I'm doing in automatic writing in the morning. Maybe it's because before each coaching session, I go into prayer and ask for guidance for my highest good and the highest good of all. Or maybe it's just that I'm working on staying in heart coherence so much that I'm the bigger tuning fork on the block. And when you're the bigger tuning fork, somebody comes into your energy field, their vibration goes up to where you are rather than you going down to theirs. Now, with that said, there are some people that are more draining than others. And I met with one of these people in the past week. And after a session, I'm like, wow, I really feel tired. I feel exhausted. And so I went back to my breathing for a few minutes. I took a pause. I took care of my basic needs. And then I bounced right back from it. I think a big part of that is awareness. I like to say awareness is half of everything. Somebody was recently writing in one of their books that awareness is 97% of everything. That may be true. When you notice your energy shifting, you can do something about it. The last thought, this goes back to the skittish deer, and this goes back to family and coworkers. We try not to do a dance with people that bring us down. However, family we can't get away from. We send them all our love. Coworkers we often can't get away from, even if they pull us down. So it's important to be present with your feelings. I would say a prayer, ask for a bubble of love and light to surround you for beforehand. I would go into a state of heart coherence as much as I can. And then afterwards, I would step back and pause to help clear off that energy. Now, you can literally clear off that energy. You can do it with sage. You can do it with crystals. You can do it with my favorite, which is an Epsom salt bath. But that pause alone may help you enough to step back and get yourself back into your own positive, energetic space. Brilliant, brilliant question. Thank you for asking.
It's amazing what he does with customer service phone calls.
I love it.
I mean, sometimes they're really happy and they actually seem to sound like they enjoy their job. And other times they get on the phone, they sound like miserable and like they would love to do anything else except take another customer service call. And then by the end, the other person, you can hear them, they're smiling. So can you share a little bit about like what your intention is when you get on the phone with like somebody about a wrong bill or?
It's either make a new friend or make their day. I know that if I'm calling them and there's a problem, there's a challenge, then so many other people have called them. And so I'm immediately going to a place of compassion for them, or going to a place of empathy. I'm understanding they're having it rough. The last thing in the world they need is another person calling to beat up on them, because they're getting paid to take the hits and they're not getting paid enough for it. And so if I'm calling, I'm coming from a different place. Yes, I have a challenge. Yes, this thing isn't working. Yes, you sent me whatever and I don't understand it. But first and foremost, let's get this relationship going from a place of love. How are you doing? Where are you in the world? What's the weather like? Is there smoke? Did you get out this weekend? I want to know about you as a person. I want to make a friend. Okay, now let's talk about this situation that's going on. And it goes so much better every single time. And this from somebody years ago. I remember getting on the line with, I think it was AT&T cellular, something like that, like 10 years ago, pre-Jessica. And I got a bill that had, it was one of those bills that I wasn't supposed to be billed for something. And it was completely, I was in the right. And I had one customer service rep on the phone, and she told me, I can give you half off, sir. Half of that if you'll pay the other half. And I said, well, I shouldn't owe anything. I'm not paying anything. And this was before I was in a place of love and heart coherence with everybody around me. And I said, can I have your supervisor? No, you can't. I demand to speak to your supervisor. Okay, you can have my supervisor. She's going to tell you the same thing. Thank you. Let me have the supervisor. Supervisor gets on the line, and I will remember this line till my last breath. And I say, this isn't right. I shouldn't have to pay for this. And she said, probably Mr. Sandler, this isn't Burger King. You can't have it your way. I wasn't making a friend. That wasn't my goal. I was coming from a place of you against me, us against them, of division. That's what I see in the world today. I don't want to go too much into the politics of things, but when we see division between us and don't realize we're one hand, or we're one body and we're representing one hand, but there's another hand, it's on the same body, and we don't realize it's all one, and we say, I want to chop off this hand, we're not doing ourselves any good. When we come more of a place of love and understanding and empathy, even if we're going, I don't have any idea in the world where you're coming from or how you could be saying that, but I love you anyway, and I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to find some common ground between us. It changes everything.
Yeah. I mean, the person on the other phone isn't the company. It's a human being.
It is a human being. Even if it's Department of Motor Vehicles. Actually, I love the people at Department of Motor Vehicles. But wherever it is, and those are the most fun because they are the most challenged because they've got one of the hardest jobs out there.
It depends which state you're in.
It does depend.
New Jersey.
I send them all my love. And Hawaii, surprisingly, as well. Hawaii was the same way, you came in 30 seconds late, off with your license. But actually I came in early, but I let somebody go in front of you, off with your license. Send them love, send them love, send them love. If there's anything you can do when somebody is challenging, send them all the love in the world. And I say it almost every week. I'm going to go there one more time because it's my all-time favorite prayer when it comes to healing relationships and changing the way people interact with you. Ho'oponopono. Hawaiian healing prayer, forgiveness prayer, 4 lines. You can say them in any order. Think of somebody that you're having an interaction challenge with, you're having a relationship difficulty with, and I say take their name and put it in the jukebox of your heart. Watch that coin go into the slot, and then just repeat to yourself and for yourself. Because when you heal yourself, since we're truly, and quantum mechanics shows, we truly are all one. When you heal yourself, it heals the relationships and helps heal them as well. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I am sorry. Thank you. Send them all the love in the world. A really strange tangent, which is we've been learning how to hand feed the hummers. It's been really cool. We can hold the hummingbird feeders. I can actually get them to go onto my finger now. I'm not sure if it's accidental, if they're not looking where they put their feet or not, but they can actually sit on my finger or put their little furry butt on my finger as they're drinking out of the feeder. But since the feeder is sweet nectar, bees come around. And I used to be terrified of bees. And I would get stung after stung after stung after stung after stung. I remember what was I, like 10, 11, 12 years old, summer camp, a kid threw at miniature golf, threw a putter at a bee's nest or beehive. And who got stung in the belly about 20 times? Me. Why? I probably was carrying the most fear. So now we're out there, we're holding these feeders. And as often as the hummingbirds come and land on my fingers, the bees, wow, there's an eagle out there now. The bees are landing on my fingers. Do you see how big that bird is? Giant eagle just outside the house. So the bees land on my fingers. And instead of going to a place of fear, which is what we do with our coworkers, which is what we do with our families, is I go to a place of love. I send them all the love in the world I can. In fact, I'd like to say on a daily wow I did a few days ago, I had a bee land on my lip. I call it a bee kiss. And it came right to my lips, and I'm going, but I'm just sending out all the love in the world that I can. When you do that, it makes a difference in everybody around you. You get into heart coherence, get into that heart space, you change your energy, you send out love, and it changes everything around you. So we have time for just a few more questions.
We've got 2 more so far.
All right.
Our next one is from Jacob, who writes, I watched your video with Julia Cameron and have started the Artist's Way. I was wondering if you do morning pages and artist states. Do they alter your subconscious mind in some way?
A brilliant question, Jacob. And so we don't do, well, I can speak for myself. I don't really do morning pages, which is more of a first person exercise. I do automatic writing, which is a similar concept. I think it hits a different space or connects to something else. Both are powerful techniques. I don't want to take away from Julia Cameron. I love her work. I love her work. I love her work. I love her work. Automatic writing that we do tends to tap into higher self, higher team, angels, guides, whatever you want to call it, or just that inner wisdom, which you do also get through morning pages, but comes at you as more of a third person guidance for you. And that's why I like it so much. And that's why I find it so powerful. Was there a second part to that question, or did I catch the whole thing? Oh, it scrolled.
Just disappeared.
It scrolled and deleted.
Do they alter your subconscious mind in some way?
Okay, so that's a brilliant question. Morning pages, I can't speak to that much because the question is for subconscious, are you getting into a theta brainwave state? You may be, you may not be. If you do things like automatic writing isn't the only thing that you can do it, but that's my favorite tool or our favorite tool. You're getting into a theta brainwave state. That is a self-hypnotic or a hypnotic brainwave state. It's also a hypnagogic state. Basically, you're shutting down your prefrontal lobe in the front of your brain here that controls your thinking mind, and you're going to more higher states of consciousness. When you write in that place, you hear deeper words of wisdom, but you can also rewrite the subconscious, something that I've been doing with a lot of my coaching clients lately and been doing with myself and finding tremendous success is in that theta brainwave state. You're talking with your subconscious, but you're not. So the thinking mind is about 10% of what's going on. It's the tip of the iceberg. The subconscious is 90%. It's why emotions come up. It's why you can tell yourself, I love myself. I'm a great person, all you want. Then you can trip your toe and go, what a screw up. Because that's your subconscious. It has a completely different agenda going on under the surface. But when you're in a theta brainwave state, when you're writing from that place, you can literally carve new grooves in the record, make new patterns, create new habits, which is why it's so powerful to get into that theta brainwave state where you can truly rewrite and put a new program. It's basically like pressing a new record into that vinyl, new grooves in the record with your subconscious. So brilliant, brilliant question.
Next question is from Tammy, who writes, how do you guys cleanse your crystals and how do you charge them with intent?
That is both a brilliant question, Tammy, and I'm not going to have the best answer for you. I don't clean my crystals very much. I've put them in moonlight before. I've put them in sunlight before, but it's not something that I do on a regular basis. It's probably be something that is good for me to do more. I know that the crystal that I used to use for coaching and used to use for all of my interviews feels hot now to the touch. So I bet that means it could use a cleansing. And so I've gone to my beaded bracelets. I've gone to, there is a beautiful stone that I got out on the trails that just feels so grounding. I'll use that to run through. I'm continuously running through mantras of sending love. That seems to be my thing. Although I've now been challenging myself and saying, is there something else based on everything we're learning on heart coherence that I want to do as more of a reminder of a mantra to stay in that heart space? It's strange to say because I Send Love is a heart space. But is there something more heart coherence oriented that I want to go to over time? I don't know yet.
You had 2 women on about crystals. Do you remember what they recommended?
Sage, moonlight, and I'm not sure what else. I don't recall. Do you? I know that if you look up crystals in Inspire Nation, you'll find their interview, and they do have a whole section on crystal maintenance and best ways to take care of them. I
didn't realize that you stopped using your crystal.
I keep it on my desk. I keep it with me. But I found it when I first used it, I guess when we came back from Maui, it felt too hot to the touch. I did put it in the moonlight for a few nights and it felt much better. And I may have done that once or twice, but lately it has felt too strong. The best way to describe it, I say hot, but I'm somebody who's historically been very sensitive to EMF. I'm so much better now. When I first got a few of my titanium parts, I would get nauseous around EMF. And that's the feeling that I get if I hold on to the crystal long. It feels like there's an overwhelming amount of energy. And so I gently put it down. So, but based on this discussion, I'll do a cleansing of it and let's see how it feels.
Ivy says selenite is good for cleansing other crystals.
Perfect. Selenite, I'm not sure if we have any. We wanted to get one from that hypnotherapist. So we'll get some selenite and we'll try it out.
Salt works also. Sea salt.
Sea salt. That I've heard of. In fact, for some reason, I have this urge to give him the crystal an Epsom salt bath. I bet that would actually work. Do we have, we're just about done time-wise. Is there another question or two?
That looks like it.
That looks like it. So is there anything that you want to add this evening or that you've been thinking about or that's been on your heart rather than on your mind?
Well, this is not really a heart thing. It's a housekeeping thing.
Okay.
Which is Patreon. Did you mention Patreon?
I have not mentioned Patreon. Well, that is a heart thing. If you love the show, if you enjoy, if you're finding benefit out of what we're sharing with you, then come become a Backstage Pass member. Come join the Inspire Nation family. You can go to Patreon, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. Your love and support is what keeps the show going. We are 100% supported by you, our listener. So come on over to patreon.com/Inspire Nation, become a member of the family. We have daily Words of Wisdom videos. We've been talking about it a lot lately, and I know we're going to be doing a bunch of book giveaways. I think all it's going to take is let's schedule it in the next day or two. In fact, let's schedule in one for tomorrow.
Okay.
So my commitment is we're giving away a book tomorrow on Patreon.
At least one.
At least one. And I asked for today's book. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. On bringing in wealth and abundance into your life. And right now on air, I don't know why I am spacing the name of
Geometry of Wealth by Brian P. something.
Yes, by Brian. Oh, we love you, Brian. The Geometry of Wealth. It's a beautiful book. And I think it's greater than just wealth oriented. And people are so scared by the concept money today. I think when you're scared of something that much, you actually need to dive in twice as quickly and twice as deep. But it's a phenomenal read. It helps you really change your perspective on money, on finance, on budgeting, on spending, on investing, and so much more. And he's going to be sending us a copy of the book so that we can give away a copy as well. So I'm going to be cranking up the book giveaway machine on our Patreon site as well.
We have like over a dozen, maybe 24 books to give away already.
We do.
Because we were a bit backlogged from before I moved from North Carolina.
We were, and admittedly, this has been an interesting time, and I really don't want to fuel the flames anymore. When people ask us, so how was your last month? We're like, huh? and that's because we've been surrounded by smoke and a forest fire, and what a beautiful distraction. So great to learn about yourself. And now we have nothing to complain about. There's a lot of smoke out there, which we're told is from California. Our home is safe. Everybody's home is safe. We want everybody's home to be safe. We've gotten so many more hummingbirds out of this. It's just crazy beautiful. But things like Patreon, we have been, haven't done the giveaways, but now we're back. And no, I was going to say on fire. There have to be some other analogies, metaphors, euphemisms that we can use here that are better. Now we're on ice.
No, that sounds terrible.
It doesn't work. No, that's really bad. We'll come up with it. Anything else that you wanted to share? And I was trying to take housekeeping. We have Patreon. Oh, share. Share with, if you love the show, share with people. Grab other people's phones. Subscribe them to Inspire Nation. Get everybody you can to watch and enjoy the show. Well, if they don't enjoy the show, have them watch something else. But our mission is to help raise the vibration of the planet. Our mission is to help raise the vibration of you. If we can go one person at a time, 100 people at a time, 1,000 people at a time, and get people into heart coherence, get you feeling better, get you vibrating at a higher level, get you on course, on path for your hopes, your dreams, your desires, it becomes contagious, and we can change the whole planet. Small goal. We can do this.
And we're going to start with our group coaching.
And we are going to start segueing back to our group coaching, where we are going to do group intention work, where we are literally going to meditate and intend together and help attract in what each of us in our group coaching program wants for each of us. And I believe we'll meddle and do some work for the whole world as a whole as well. Because when you've got a master class together, why not?
And so if they're interested, they can send an email
to coaching@inspirenationshow.com. Coaching@inspirenationshow.com. We'll be starting that approximately the beginning of September. We haven't held a group coaching class in 2 years. The group coaching class went phenomenally well. We still keep in touch with almost everybody. In fact, they keep coming back around, and we send them all of our love because it's life-changing. And Jessica's a part of that too. And I would argue that what she has to share is arguably more important than me, because people have heard my opinions a lot of the time, but you give a completely different perspective that isn't on the air 5 days a week.
I guess, but you're always coming up with new stuff.
This is true.
And you're probably, if we plug this on you right now, you'd probably be in heart coherence.
I don't know, but we will get to try. We will get to try, and I look forward to it. I look forward to playing. So that's all I've got from here. Any last words of wisdom that you want to say, or shout outs or anything of the sort? And thank you, Tammy. And I don't know if we want to try for a Sir Meowser's cameo. He is right behind me. I wish I could swing this around. Do I dare swing it around? I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Do you mind if I go for it?
I don't mind.
All right, let's see what happens here. Let's try this. How many different things am I plugged into? What are the
You can unplug the mouse.
potential challenges here? I can unplug the mouse. We're going to keep me attached to the mic. But, oh, and there's a bird feeder coming along for the ride. Let's see if we can see any hummingbirds out there. And they're a handful flying outside the window right there. Not too many. When we get towards sunset, you'll see 50, 60, 70 of them. Each feeder has 10 ports on it. Actually, the feeders are looking pretty empty, pretty dismal. We get to fill those as soon as we're done. Oh, and then here is Sir Meowser's for your Sir Meowser's cameo. If you want to bring him up here for just a quick second, we'll do a Sir Meowser's cameo, and then we will call it good.
He wants food right now.
He wants food, so he is not into this at all.
He's eating.
All right, so we had a hummingbird cameo, and next time you can go back to the beginning of the show. We had a Sir Meowser's cameo as well. So we want to send everybody all our love. Yes, we'll have, oh my gosh, now there are a lot of hummingbirds. But can I get over there? I'm going to make one more try for it. Let's make one more try, and let's see what happens. So we've got that. What is this? That's the microphone. And let's see what we can do over here. Can I get in real close? Oh, I can't get in. We got the screen there. I don't know if they're seeing anything or not. And if they're seeing those two, hard to get on camera. We will find a way. But they are so special. They're the world's smallest bird, size for size. They were the world's fastest animal. And they also have the highest metabolism, which is why they just can't think of anything else.
No.
All right. Well, to everybody who's joined us, thank you so much. We send all our love your way. Yes. Woohoo! I've got people saying if they came back, oh, that's you saying you would come back as a hummingbird. Oh, yeah. Man, that would be fun.
I mean, they fly 60 miles per hour. They get to hang out in Colorado and Peru for the winter.
This is true. They're high vibration beings.
Yeah. And they just look like they're having so much fun.
You know what they remind me of? They remind me of like prairie dogs of flight. I see the prairie dogs. I think of Groundhog. What's that movie? Caddyshack. I'm all right. And the little prairie dog, they call it a groundhog, but it's dancing. It's
actually a prairie dog?
I think it's a prairie dog. It looks
really?
Like, that's my guess. So it was a last minute thing. There's a whole story behind it, how they put that in. There was a last minute plot addition. And the sound that the prairie dog, we'll call it a groundhog, makes, or actually a gopher, I guess is what they call it. The sound that it makes, they actually took the recording from Flipper, the TV show. And it's actually a dolphin sound. You'll never be able to hear it the same way again. I've ruined it for everybody. If you watch Caddyshack, It's actually the sound of a dolphin. But these hummingbirds, they're like little party animals. They get the little tail going, right? It flaps as if it's like a dog wagging its tail. And they're like the prairie dog of birds. They're just happy having little parties.
Oh.
What? I ruined
it. It's a dolphin.
Oh no, she's going to be going and Googling after this. YouTube, Caddyshack, dolphin sound or something like that. Yes, it is actually a dolphin. All right, for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and...
Oh, hi. Jessica Lee.
Saying be well, have a magical, magical day ahead, week ahead. Shoot us your questions. If you want us to ask something for next week, come to coaching@inspirenationshow.com or send an email if you want to get put on the wait list, because it's going to be a very, very small class and we're going to be filling like super, super fast. That's like an understatement for this. So come get on the wait list for that. And come join us at one of our classes, Magical Morning Routine, Automatic Writing. I think there's a coupon code Jessica put on there for 20% off as well. And we just send all our love your way. We send all our love your way. Be well, be blessed, and have a magical, magical week ahead. Yes, of course, above and beyond all else, shine bright. Woo! Cool, much better.